Hello YouTube and welcome to another video from Kitty Clinical. Today we're going to be talking about 3 pearls of wisdom for you regarding test taking strategy. Now this is going to apply to the USMLE Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3. I'm pretty sure it could apply to the MCATs as well and maybe other exams that you take or questions that you do on medical school examinations that are not standardized. So let's go ahead and get started with Pearl of Wisdom number 1. Pay attention to demographics. So what do I mean by this? Well, if I've got a question that starts with 3-year-old boy, African American, well, you gotta, and then they go on and on and on. You gotta say to yourself, well, why are they including all that information? Why are they including African American in there? Do they have sickle cell anemia? What about the age? Pay attention to the age and the gender. If we got a 75-year-old male or 75-year-old female with some sort of leukemia or lymphoma, and you look into the answer choices and you've got AML, CML, well, what is most likely going to be the answer? Is it going to be AML or CML based on the age? Sometimes the age just gives it away, folks. So pay attention to the demographics and listen to the question itself. Okay, so like I said before, African American, Caucasian. If they're Caucasian, maybe they have cystic fibrosis. But pay attention to this because they're not just going to say Caucasian in the question stem. Not for a reason. There's going to be a reason behind them doing that, right? They're not just going to say that and be like, okay, that's just it's kind of a red herring. I don't think they're going to do that. And it's never been the case that they've just thrown something out there randomly and it had nothing to do with the question. And if that was ever the case, probably that question came from a third-party test writer. Maybe you got it from a question bank that wasn't UWorld. Maybe you got it from somewhere else. But from my experience, I can tell you for sure that if they include something like that in the question stem, then probably they're doing it for a reason. Now, maybe they are putting a lot of details in the question and they're trying to throw you off a little by little. So they give you a paragraph here, maybe not a paragraph, maybe a sentence here that suggests one disease, another sentence here that suggests another disease, and you got to weigh the points for and against each diagnosis, each differential diagnosis. Well, that is maybe one thing that they might do, but if it's a question that's got 5 or 6 sentences and it's pretty straightforward what it is, don't get thrown off by the simple things like the demographics. All right, so Pearl of Wisdom number 2. You got to put yourself in the shoes of the test writer, folks. If they've got a question that's like, I don't know, some guy, he's on testosterone hormone replacement therapy, and they've got a CBC out there, I mean, you got to ask yourself, why are they doing this? What's the point, right? There's going to be a point or a take-home message behind every question. And the question's not just going to give you a random factoid that has nothing to do with medicine, right? No. If you're on testosterone, you're going to be at more risk of polycythemia, right? So you got to think to yourself about what is the test writer trying to say here. They're not just going to throw testosterone there and not say anything about it, or just be like, okay, that's just something that's in the question and it has nothing to do with whether the answer is right or wrong. No. There is a purpose, an intention behind every single word of that question. And the best way to get the question right is to think to yourself, if I were the test writer and I were making this question, what is it that I was trying to send the message across to the test taker? So that's Pearl of Wisdom number 2. And number 3, this is going to be a little controversial. But if the answer is obvious, it's probably correct. What do I mean by this? What I mean is, don't second guess yourself. be confident, and don't just assume every question is a trick question just because you got it wrong in UWorld. Hey, I know that the questions from UWorld are very, very similar to the actual exam for the most part. Some people might disagree or agree, but if the answer is obvious, if it's a very common answer that you think 90% of the test takers will take, then pick that answer because that might be the right answer. It's not very common. I know that when you take UWorld questions and you get the question wrong and it's like, oh, 54% of the people got my question and they all got it wrong and only 20% of the people who got it right. Yes, but that's the minority, not the majority. You got to go for the 90%. If I were to pick the answer that is most likely that everyone would be picking on every question, I would do very well in the exam. Right? I would do very well in the exam. This goes back to a previous video that I said where the average is competitive. The most likely answer that the majority of people are going to answer is most likely going to be the right answer. Now, that's not going to be the case 100%, but again, if you follow these 3 pearls of wisdom, you will do much better on your exam than you previously did. So I hope this video answers some of your questions or concerns, maybe puts you a little at ease. Maybe you're watching this video a week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 months before your exam. I hope that the messages that I'm coming across here today with these 3 pearls of wisdom helps you on your exam. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to contact me. Send me a message on YouTube. Send me a comment down below, and I will be more than happy to answer. All right, take it easy, folks.